bigcal and welcome to my world. Today, another Star Wars book video. So, I've just finished reading the Hand of Thrawn duology, and today I'll be talking about the first book, and it is Specter of the Past. Honestly, I didn't enjoy this book as much as probably all the others I've read. It's probably my least favourite. But it isn't a bad book at all. It's just, it seems that there are so many different things going on at once during the book. It starts to get a little messy sort of thing. You know, there's too much going on, and it's only in the second book that everything finally comes together. So the first book's kind of a bit of a mess with everything, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. So the main plot of this duology is that it's 10 years after Thrawn has died. And the Empire is basically a shell of its former self, and Admiral Palion, formerly Captain, who worked under Thrawn in the Thrawn trilogy, he's the supreme commander of the fleet, and he's gone to all the Moffs and decided that basically they need to work out a peace treaty with the New Republic, so that, for starters, the war will end, and that they can keep any remaining systems that they have, but if any systems wish to leave them, join the New Republic, they can. There will be no hard feelings, no tax, no nothing. But likewise, if any New Republic system wants to join the Empire, they're also free to do so, and there can be trade between them. It just, he's bored, he's fed up. 10 years since Thrawn's died, the Empire has been just ripped apart. There's nothing left. He just wants to keep hold of what they still have and continue living, basically. The Moffs agree reluctantly, so he sends a message to General Bel Iblis, who we met in the Thrawn trilogy, because he believes that he's at least an honourable man and will agree to meet him and talk in person without setting up some sort of trap or anything. However, there is one particular Moff who absolutely hates this idea, and he's been trying to work on something for a while to bring the Empire back on top. He ends up teaming up with a former guardsman for the Emperor. He was an elite skilled warrior, former stormtrooper, very intelligent, built up the ranks and became obviously a guard for the Emperor, which was a huge undertaking and a high position within the Empire. So he's very intelligent, like I said, very good tactician, all this sort of thing, and an extraordinarily skilled fighter. He teams up and they work together, and he's basically manipulating the Moff, but the Moff doesn't think he's being manipulated, so it's kind of funny. And the big plan is to bring back Thrawn. Only Thrawn's dead. So what they do is they've hired a con man and basically had him have plastic surgery or whatever the equivalent is in Star Wars book to look like Thrawn. And he's been painted blue. He's got red eye contacts or whatever, and he's patterned his voice after Thrawn, and he basically looks and sounds the part. But they have to keep him quiet for the most part. They show him off to a couple of Moffs and captains and things, while trying to be separate from Admiral Palion, because Palion knew the man personally, get him involved, and you might see through the disguise, essentially. So they're plotting against, essentially, the Empire as well as the New Republic. And the New Republic are falling apart now because of a thing called the Camas document that's come out, which the Camas was a group of people, a planet, and it was utterly annihilated by the Empire back in the day. And no one knew exactly what happened or how it happened. Turns out the Bothans were involved. They helped knock down the planetary shields and allowed the Empire to basically destroy this planet, and only a handful of the people survived. And the document was found on the planet where the Emperor's storage room was. In the Thrawn trilogy book, so it's all very confusing. So someone's found that and leaked it out basically, but it doesn't say who the Bothans were involved. And if you have read the Thrawn trilogy book, you know that Councillor Failer, I think his name was, the Bothan councillor, was terrified of this storage room, and it was like, yeah, go and destroy this, Leia and Han and all that. It was while the rest of the council were like, yeah, we don't really want to send any help there because it might be fake. When they were trying to blow up the clone tanks, and he's just like, no, blow it up, because obviously there was something that could harm his people. And that's what this is. So now they're trying to find the full version of the document, because this one was damaged due to being blown up, basically, when the storeroom was blown up back in the Thrawn trilogy. So only part of it's there, it doesn't say who's involved, so now everyone's looking for a copy of this document. And while that's happening, this group, the Moff and the former guardsmen and the new throne, are manipulating riots and things like that to over the Kamas situation to try and get justice and things like that against the Bothan people, and almost the entire galaxy ends up with warships over the Bothan world. Just some of them wanting to defend them, some of them wanting to annihilate them, and they're just waiting to go to war. So we then have Luke Skywalker searching for the document, but then he has some visions, one in particular of Mara dying, and that doesn't sit well with him, so he goes to find her. And it turns out there's this weird alien ship that no one's seen before, and keeps following them around, so they go searching for that. Mara gets captured by them, Luke has to go help her. We also have Han Solo. It's hard to remember what's in this book and what's in the next one, but he's again going after the Kamas document a different way with Lando. Leia's doing something completely different as well. The Moff and Thrawn, I think, captured the guy who was sent with a message to General Bel Iblis for peace. He's been captured, so then they don't know that there's going to be a peace treaty. Yeah, and there's just a lot of crazy things. And then we have Card teaming up with a Mistral. Apparently, these group of people who are like trained assassins or something. He teams up with her. She's sort of left them now. And they're going after an old enemy, so to speak, of Card. Card's huge smuggling operation was originally someone else's. And then this other guy disappeared for a while, and Card essentially took over, and he's convinced that because he took over, the other guy's going to be pissed at him and want to murder him outright. So he's a little bit sceptical of going to find him, but that's essentially what he goes to do. And that's sort of the first book. Like I said, it's just so messy because there's so many different things going on at once. It's all confusing. Everyone's going in different directions, and I said that it's a good read still. There's a lot of good stuff, and you of course have to read this to move on to the second one, but it does get a little bit confusing here and there. But yeah, overall it's still a good book and a good first part in the duology. So even though it is a mess, you do have to really stick with it because it does all pay off in the next book. So I'm bigcal, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.